one fund, on point for today, the expert to talk about it. This is the ETF of the week. Welcome to the ETF of the week, where we get the latest take from Todd Rosenbluth, the head of research at VettaFi. And at VettaFi.com, you will find all the details you need to be better informed about the new, newsworthy, unique, and intriguing exchange-traded funds that we discuss here. It's VettaFi.com for more information. Todd Rosenbluth, great to chat with you again.
It's great to be back, Chuck.
Your ETF of the week is
the Neuberger Berman Commodity Strategy ETF, NBCM.
NBCM, the Neuberger Berman Commodity Strategy ETF. Begs an immediate question, why commodities now?
Well, I think the market this past week is a great sign for why commodities. Stocks are getting crushed. Inflation is a concern for many investors, many advisors. They're looking for an alternative to the equity markets, something different to diversify their portfolio. Commodities have been performing much better. This is a fund from Neuberger Berman that has a long track record as it converted from a mutual fund to an ETF. It's got a decent track record as well from being an ETF. We think now is a great time to take a closer look at an actively managed commodity ETF.
Let's talk a little bit about construction and what's in it, because commodities mean a lot of things to a lot of people. I mean, you can have very specific and tightly focused commodity funds. You can have ones that have a little bit of everything. What does this one have?
Gold is the largest exposure, but this is an ETF that's diversified across the commodity spectrum. So there's some energy commodities, there's other precious metals, there's agriculture like corn within the portfolio. And what active management behind this does is increase or decrease exposure to those commodities based on what the environment is and what commodities are likely to do better. So coming into the year, there was less exposure to gold. Gold is now better positioned, or presumably based on management's expectations, because as we're talking in early April, gold is now the largest weighting. It's roughly 20%, give or take, of the overall portfolio. So there's active shifting potentially on a daily basis, given the environment that we're in. Tariffs are top of mind. Inflation is top of mind. This active manager is helping allocate across those different individual commodities.
Commodities themselves tend to be reasonably volatile. It is an area of the market that scares people, not because they can't get their head around it, but because the volatility is a big deal. And this is a fund that, like, if you were looking at it on a trend following basis, on a moving average basis, when the market tanked after the tariffs were announced, this fund tanked and fell below its 200-day moving average. But it's been over and below that a bunch. Is this a fund that you really want to control, like very limited piece of the portfolio with a very specific job, basically to be not correlated to everything else? Or is this a fund that you're making a long-term commitment to come hell or high water?
So I think investors are seeing the potential benefits of having commodity exposure as a slice of the portfolio, not just the portfolio that invests in stocks or bonds using ETFs or perhaps mutual funds or individual securities, but having a slice of the portfolio that's commodities. We tend to find that commodities is roughly a single digit, maybe mid-single digit percentage of a diversified portfolio. But yes, this fund is designed to perform differently than the equity market. So I actually think it's held up quite well in the market environment. And as we're talking today, it's up, or was up for the year when we were coming in to recording, whereas, of course, the S&P 500 is down, or was down sharply heading into our recording on Tuesday. I would also point to the fund's long-term track record. So I mentioned earlier, this fund converted from a mutual fund into an ETF. Neuberger Berman did that because investors are increasingly turning to ETFs to get their diversified exposure. And this fund is a 4-star rated mutual fund according to Morningstar, because it's outperformed its category average consistently, and it's also outperformed the index, the Bloomberg index that is tied to the strategy. that's a great sign in terms of how the fund is performing versus other commodity-like instruments.
The other thing about this fund is that it is non-correlated. As you pointed out, it's basically been up or flattish as we record this year when the stocks have been way down. But go back to 2022, and this was up about 17, 18% while the market was in the tank. So that's what you want this fund to do and why you want to add something like this to your portfolio. Given the volatility and what it holds, does this play nice with other things? Do you own this if you've already got a gold fund, because you're getting a little bit more diversification? How do you decide for sure the role you want it to have?
The fund did exactly what it was supposed to do in the past. Past performance, not predictive of future results. Have to get that disclaimer in there. But yes, what I like about this is diversified across the commodity spectrum. But I, and maybe the listener, doesn't have the expertise as to now is the right time to be in gold versus energy commodities. Energy has been selling off this year. Oil prices had been, whereas gold had been climbing even higher. So this, if you own a gold ETF or you own a gold mutual fund, this can pair well within your commodity allocation because it provides diversification across the spectrum of commodities, but you get the benefits of active management instead of trying to build it yourself and allocate based on which commodity is more likely to be in demand given the environment and what countries are facing tariffs and what have you. You get the benefits of active management that pairs nicely with a single commodity strategy, this Neuberger Berman strategy.
And you get the benefit of a yield. This fund has a nice yield.
Yeah, that's a nice kicker as well for folks. So they may not necessarily think about it, but yes, there's a lot of benefits to the Neuberger Berman commodity strategy ETF.
It's NBCM, the Neuberger Berman commodity strategy ETF, the ETF of the week from Todd Rosenbluth at VettaFi. Todd, great stuff as always. See you next week.
I'll see you next week.
The ETF of the week is a joint production of VettaFi and Moneylife with Chuck Jaffe. And I am Chuck Jaffe. And I'd love it if you check out my hour-long weekday show by going to your favorite podcast app by looking for it at moneylifeshow.com. Now, if you're looking for more information on your favorite ETFs or things that might be your favorite ETFs, check out VettaFi.com, where they've got a full suite of tools that will help you get better information and make yourself a better investor. They're on X at Vetta_Fi. Todd Rosenbluth, their head of research, my guest. He's on X too at Todd Rosenbluth. The ETF of the week is here for you every Thursday. Follow along on your favorite podcast app so you make sure you don't miss anything that we do here. And we'll be back with another neat ETF for you to consider next week. Until then, happy investing, everybody.